So, plagiarism in literature. Trust me when I say it, this is not something that should be taken lightly. And we would know. We're the team at Fixgerald, and we specialise in plagiarism detection. Which means we know a thing or two when it comes to pointing out a copycat. What we prepared for you today are some really interesting facts about notable plagiarism in literature cases. That'll probably make you say, wow! But before we get there, there's an important fact to point out. Not every borrowed piece of literature is considered plagiarism. It's quite a common practice for authors to borrow ideas from other authors. This is generally where inspiration is sparked. But it's a whole different animal when authors outright copy the work of another author. Let's take a deep dive into those cases I mentioned earlier. We'll start with Alex Haley. He wrote the world-famous book Roots, the saga of an American family. The novel was supposedly based on Alex's family history. Supposedly. According to Alex, it was a story about his lineage going back 7 generations, and was a gesture of homage to his ancestor, Kunta Kinte, who was taken into slavery from the Gambia. But was it really? Well, according to Harold Corlander, it wasn't. Mr. Corlander sued Haley for the copyright infringement of his work in the book titled The African. Harold's claim was that 3 passages from The African were virtually unchanged in Roots. The end result? The two settled outside of court, and Haley admitted to plagiarism. Then we have the case of Cristiane Serruya, the author of Royal Love. Now, in this case, you would think that a former lawyer turned author would have been more careful about the fine lines of plagiarism. But after the 2018 release of Royal Love, which was a smashing hit by the way, Courtney Milan, the author of The Duchess War, went public after reading Royal Love with the allegation that Cristiane had copywritten from The Duchess War. Milan took to her blog with her findings, and not soon after that, countless other authors and fans started to point out other blatant instances of plagiarism in Cristiane's novel. Cristiane was left scrambling to shift the blame onto what she claims was the result of a cheap ghostwriter. Newsflash, Christine, you published the book. The buck stops with you. And as we cover this last instance of plagiarism, I want to note one really important factor. It was orchestrated by one of Hollywood's most well-known actors. I'm talking about Shia LaBeouf. You know, the blockbuster star from the Transformers movies. Now, one might think, what does this guy need to plagiarize for? Well, only he knows that answer. But I at least have the gritty details. And even though this act of plagiarism doesn't exactly fall into the plagiarism in literature category, this is absolutely the kind of plagiarism that's worth highlighting, because it was easily uncovered using a plagiarism detector. In 2012, LaBeouf debuted a short film, howardcantor.com, at the Cannes Film Festival. When he debuted it and posted it online, it immediately drew criticism. Viewers couldn't help but notice the striking similarities between the plot and the visuals within the film and the Daniel Clowes graphic novel Ghost World. In the face of all the reticule, LaBeouf issued an apology to Daniel on Twitter, but even that apology was flagged as plagiarism from Yahoo Answers. Unbelievable! But that's his problem, not yours. And to make sure it always stays that way for you whenever you're drafting some written literature, you can use online plagiarism checkers, like the one the team at Fixgerald provides. You can check your text as frequently as you liked. All your text checks are completely confidential and completely ad-free. So head on over to fixgerald.com and check it out. And don't forget to peruse some of the other cool topics that I cover, like my YouTube video on plagiarism in the music industry. Or check out our full blog article on the topic we covered today, plagiarism in literature. So until next time, ciao!